dog. That's enough for me. A couple days later, she's like, so you don't want kids, but you have a dog. Do you have like a boyfriend or anything? And I was like, no, I've never had a boyfriend. She was like, how old are you? And I said, 27. She's like, and you've never had a boyfriend? And I like never really cared. But there's something about her like saying that really hit me this time, because like I've never been on even like 2 dates with the same person. Like even guys I've talked to or like hooked up with, they'll slowly stop talking to me, and then I find out they have a girlfriend or they get into a new relationship like a week later. And like when I was younger and I didn't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I'd be like, it's because I'm fat. I used to weigh like 320 pounds. I lost 160 pounds. It's not like I'm being hit up every day, every week, even every month with like people in my DMs or like messaging me on Snapchat trying to get with me. It's like no one hits me up. It's not even like I'm being selective with who I'm picking and like turning people away. It's just like people aren't coming up to me, and I don't understand. Not like I have an issue with people like wanting to hook up with me, but if it tries to go a step further, they're like, absolutely not, no. I don't want to just like hook up with random people that I don't know, so I'll tell people that I don't want to hook up with them until I know them, and then they're like, well, you're a prude. I'm like, I literally can't win. Why it's like hitting me so hard this time is the fact that she had the audacity to ask by choice, and I just sit there and I'm like, no, it's not by choice. When I was younger, I was like, oh, it's because I'm fat. Oh, it's because I'm fat. Once I lose weight, I'll have no problem. And now that I'm like not fat, I'm just like, what is it? What is the reason? So now I'm gonna finish my energy drink and hit the gym until I can't feel my emotions anymore. Maybe.
So, this woman had a tough childhood, as she says. She wasn't in the best physical shape and probably wasn't considered cool in school or college. Now, she says she's fit, but doesn't understand why goes aren't approaching her, and why guys aren't giving her a chance when they hook up with so many other women. She doesn't understand why people then ask her if she's single by choice. It's starting to dawn on her that there actually might be a wall she might be hitting soon, and she hasn't experienced anything in the dating world. This is the story and narrative that she's had you think, but let me tell you what was going on all of those years when she was single. You see, when most modern women like her are single, they're attracted to the idea and concept of feminism. And not just any sort of feminism. I'm talking about the woke kind. The one that turns these women into man-hating females who only seek to claim the masculine spaces in society.
Don't mind the ropes, Nighty. I actually have something I want to say. I don't know when it started, but I realized I started to do this thing where I don't let myself actually feel the things that I feel. I don't let myself admit that it does overwhelm me that I'm 35 and single. I don't let myself feel the full weight of the times that I've been hurt in my life because I don't like to give those people any sort of power over me. I don't even like to say it to myself, let alone publicly, but then I kind of forget a really important piece of the puzzle. Vulnerability and sharing these feelings is where real progress is made. As much as I want to fight it and act like it doesn't get to me, that I'm 35 and I'm single and I don't have any prospects right now, isn't gonna change what I really feel. It's hard. It's really hard to sit and admit that I have been hurt. It's hard to sit and admit that I have taken risk on love and it hasn't worked out. It's hard to admit to myself that it's impacted the way that I view dating. But one thing I do know that I really like about myself is the fact that I'm never gonna give up trying. I'm never gonna give up on myself. And even though, yes, I am 35 and single, I'm also 35 with a clean slate. 35 and no longer in a toxic, abusive relationship. 35 and completely supporting myself. And even though it can be so overwhelming and sometimes embarrassing to not be where I thought I was gonna be, at least
The modern American woman is the most undateable, disagreeable, unapproachable, and entitled horrid option for dating and marriage. And men in ever greater numbers are choosing to live single lives free from the risk of financial ruin and needless drama women bring. Already, 63% of men ages 18 to 29 are not dating, not in a relationship, or are seeking to be in a relationship. 45% of American working women, 25 to 45, are projected to be single, childless, and partnerless by 2030. Thank feminism for the mess dating and marriage have become. There are good women out there, but most are masters of deceit, lies, and deception. They know how the game is played and will come across as sweet, loving, and worst of all faithful without ever having the slightest intention of being loyal to you. If you do insist on marriage, make it a very long relationship and engagement and watch her very closely. She'll eventually show her true colors. The first sign of duplicity or disloyalty is dumping her.
Let me start by saying you have something there. You're right. Men are born at the wall. But the difference is, it's not a negative thing. Being born at the wall is actually a blessing. Now, why do I say this? It's because when you're born without advantages or privileges, you work harder, you develop yourself. When you're born at the wall, there's nowhere to go but over the wall. That's your only option. Now you see with women, especially attractive women, they're so far away from the wall. They glide through life with privileges without needing to develop themselves. They glide through life thinking everything comes to me because I'm attractive. Now that actually puts a person at a disadvantage when you finally come closer to the wall. Because the wall, what it represents, it's not just a brick wall. The wall represents truth. That's what the wall is. It's your truth. Without all the pomp and circumstance, without the beauty and the attractiveness or the XX chromosomes, which gives women an advantage from the start.
This woman thinks men are born at the wall, and hence don't have the privileges that women do. What she means is that men have to work up and build themselves out of nothing, while women are born with the privilege of beauty and feminism, and yet they throw that away and don't realize the inevitability of facing the wall as they turn 30. Firstly, you need to understand that marriage, the traditional aim when seeking a partner rather than a hookup, is the ultimate expression of Stockholm Syndrome. Feelings of trust or affection are felt in many cases of kidnapping, aka the marriage contract, by a victim or the groom towards the captor or the bride. Traditionally, the husband earned the money and the stay-at-home wife spent it. Researchers found that the wife made 80% of household spending decisions. Why would a man allow this? Because men are dumb and married for love. Women marry for resources. It's a business decision. And so, men continued for generations to provide, and women to decide on how this was spent. But they became overconfident, and feminism made them unhappy, that they needed a man like a fish needed a bicycle. The captors set their victims free through divorce, or by only taking the top 10% highest value victims, rejecting the remaining 90% of men. It takes time for Stockholm victims to wean themselves off dependency, and we are beginning to see a new generation of young men free from this syndrome and no longer trying to date women. The captors are beginning to see where they made a mistake, as a captor can only be that if they have a victim. That is, after all, the source of their power. Sadly, women will become more feminized and will draw simps back into a toxic relationship, and men will happily return to the Stockholm dependency for some rare intimacy. Or will they? Men with money and resources are more likely to attract women, and smart men who put out the effort and save money will only become more alluring to women over time. Men, on the other hand, are drawn to women because of their capacity for reproduction. The aging process can be compared to a game of poker full of deception and other types of misdirection where both sides are involved. For example, if a man and a woman were playing poker in their early 20s, the man starts with 1 chip and the woman has 90. But by the time they are 35, he has 85 of those chips and she has only 6. Your financial resources have a significant impact on your status and alternatives in real life, just like in poker. More women than men that I am aware of wasted their money rather than save it when they were young. They would go on trips, purchase shoes, have supper out a couple of times a week, and hang out a lot with their pals. When they are in their mid-30s, they would also spend a lot of money on makeup and cab fare. I've come across women who are deeply indebted from credit card debt and student loans, and are searching for a wealthy man to bail them out.
Why'd you stop going for the bad boys now at 29?
I'm 29, babe. Like, we're done. All about the good life, the soft life. I want to live well. Out on anything that causes me stress.
But why were you chasing that at 22 and 23?
Well, you're 22, 23. You don't know what the heck you're doing. You're just like, you think it's exciting, and it's like you realize after it's not actually exciting at all. You're like, all right, I'm out. I'm out on this.
Did you feel like back then a bad boy would be more able to protect you too, as opposed to a nice guy?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, I think back then you think it's exciting and you think that you don't know what you want at that age, first of all. You don't know yourself well enough. Now you do. Now I'm like, all those guys, bye.
She's asked why she stopped going for the bad boys at age 29, and she said the truth. Women are realizing that there's no escaping the wall, and working your whole life in corporate society isn't something that most people actually want to do. Once going down the employed road, it is very hard to get off. Women have made men think twice before signing the marriage contract, as there is nothing good that will result from getting married. The reason why all these women act like this is because they were raised by single moms educating them on their bad habits and failures. Blame the women who took the kids at divorce because they got bored. They get older and realize it's not as fun in a man's world as they thought. I don't know any men who feel strong and independent as they are forced to wake up at inopportune times, go to a job they hate, get paid minimally no matter how hard they work, get overlooked for promotion, and feel like their life force is being sucked away from them every day. The 6-foot, 6-figure, and 6-pack percentage modern women are looking at is more like the top 1% of men. 8% are not actively looking, and the remaining 91% have walked away. They say a man's prime starts in his 30s, but that's the worst time to date. The ones your age want kids yesterday, the ones older than you are jaded and bitter, and the younger ones are addicted to social media and can't even hold a regular conversation. That pretty much sums up relationships for men in today's era. I want, and I want. That's what women say all the time. Women can say what they want, and most likely get it when they are young and attractive. When they are older, they are completely invisible to men and totally irrelevant. The difference between older men and women is that men can accept these facts and still enjoy what time they have left being content with what they have. At the end of it all, what is it that these women have in common? It's the utter realization that the wall is inevitable, and the utter ignorance of how they made bad decisions in the last decade, where they believed in some woke ideology to stay in the cool crowd. That's it for today. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.